What's up, Wild fans? It's time for another MinnyIce Postcast. Unfortunately for the Wild, they lose by a score of 5-3. And Jake, same story as we've seen pretty much every game this season. The Wild fell behind 3-1. They rallied to tie, but this time it was San Jose who was able to get the fourth and fifth goals to ultimately ice the game.
Yeah, and I think everyone knows that was watching. They didn't deserve to win this game for sure. So that first period was just abysmal. It was terrible. Somehow they ended that period 1-1. They scored on their first shot of the game, which was a wonderful play by Kaprizov, who was, I think, once again, one of their better players in this game. But, they didn't deserve to win this game, so I'm not shocked that they came out at the end here. Brent Burns made an amazing goal there at the end. Like, that was highlight reel. You'll see that for the entire year. Put it on a stamp. But, they just didn't play very well in this game, and they dropped to 4-2 on the year. But they deserved this one.
A little concerning that the Wild, it seems like, have had so many slow starts in games this year.
I think it is. You have to look at that, and quite frankly, like going back to just the past couple of years, that's always been the case. They always start so slow, and then it's like, oh, we're behind, or even like the Minnesota Vikings. The I don't know about the Timberwolves. I don't watch them, but it's the same thing with most Minnesota sports teams. It's like, oh, now we have to start cooking because time's running out on us. If you can implement that earlier in the game, you don't have to do that later. So, I completely agree with you there.
And another theme, former Minnesota players coming back to haunt their previous team, as we saw Ryan Donato with the goal, and then Brent Burns with just the most disgusting goal you will ever see in your life. It to me, the Burns goal was like a flop shot in golf, where you're just off the green and you want to hit it really high up in the air and land it soft. Like, yeah, man. But it happens in every Minnesota team. It seems like just can't contain their former players, and no exception tonight.
Yeah, and going to the NFL side of things, Diggs popped off. He had a pretty good game. Houston on the field there, but going back to what we were saying about the Wild and our post game thing here, it's almost like these players just circle this day on their calendar or whenever they're coming back to Minnesota, and because they want to play, they want to have a good game. But it would be an interesting article for us to do at MinnyIce to look back and see how many points previous Wild players have scored on them, because it has to be just insane.
Numerous. Yeah, that is a great idea. In fact, I'll do you one better, and I'll say that will drop this week. We'll look into it. So you can look for that at MinnyIce. Just some other things to look at with this game. The Wild 4-2 now on the season, and a lot of people point to some pretty eye-popping saves by Kaapo tonight, but pretty so-so effort from him. Couple of those goals pretty soft that he gave up, and so you take the good with the bad with a young player like that. He's learning, and so sometimes he's going to have. He had a stretch where he had some pretty good saves, but you look at his end of the night stats, and could do a little better overall.
And like you were saying, technically he is a rookie in the NHL, and as a goaltender, that's a big stat or a big thing to try and follow up on. But he's doing decent. But I think, if anything, that you've seen from him, even though he won his first 2 games, he wasn't exactly spectacular. And the reason that they won those games, he should be the backup right now. And whenever Cam Talbot is healthy, he is the bona fide starter. And I think that's definitely become clear here with Cam Talbot's absence. But, you see the flashes, right? You see some of those saves. And then you see some of the ones where it's like, okay, your glove looks a little leaky there, or your 5-hole's a little bit open. Just little things like that. So I think it's a little techniques that he has to work out and adjust to in the NHL life. But other than that, I think he'll be fine, and he's slated best at that backup spot behind Cam Talbot.
I agree. Who are your 3 stars tonight? Of course, fans can look for that article dropping here at about the same time that we drop the MinnyIce Postcast, but just so that people know, and then they can look a little more in depth at MinnyIce.com.
Yeah. So my 3 stars tonight are going to be I got 2 from San Jose, 1 from Minnesota. First star is Ryan Donato. Second star is Brent Burns. 2 former Wild players, of course, because why not? They come back in their revenge games and love it. And then for Minnesota, for the 3rd star, I put Jordan Greenway there. I thought he was in the middle of everything tonight. He was awesome. So, honestly, one of the best Wild players that there's been in the first 6 games or so that they played. So it's been really good for him going forward, but those are my 3 stars of the night that you can look forward to.
At MinnyIce.com, of course, report cards will drop at about 9 a.m. tomorrow. I have my weekly column, the debut of Tope's Takes, dropping tomorrow as well. And, of course, we've got MinnyIce Minutes for you first thing in the morning. So MinnyIce has you covered like no other site in terms of Wild post games. So make sure to enjoy all of that. That'll do it for this edition of the MinnyIce Postcast. See you tomorrow.